Just a quick level check. What did you have for breakfast?
I never eat breakfast. What I had for breakfast was what I had for lunch, which was what I had for dinner, which was a couple of slices of provolone cheese and a handful of almonds.
Wow. Okay. Well, thank you for that.
That's how I keep my girlish figure.
You are listening to the Music on Your Own Terms podcast. Business, interviews, encouragement, constant improvement, analysis, digital distribution, musicians, opinion, recommendation, promotion, entrepreneurship, live show, music, touring, streaming, hustling, overcoming self-overcoming, band, anxiety, accomplishment, dealing with depression. Welcome to episode 7 of Music on Your Own Terms. This episode, I'm talking with Rish Green from the Boston band The Lights Out. Definitely one of my favorite bands I've discovered while seeing shows in the Boston area. I highly recommend checking out their last album, Trip, and I'll be posting videos and other links on the show notes on the website, which is musiconyourownterms.com. As you'll hear in this episode, they have an upcoming show in January, so I highly recommend if you're in the Boston area, you go check it out. Definitely keep an eye out on the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Music on Your Own Terms. I have a lot of new episodes in the works, which are going to feature some discussions on entrepreneurial mindsets, which I think are going to be really useful. So stay tuned. Anyway, here's Rish.
So welcome to the Music on Your Own Terms podcast. Thanks for taking the time. You're very welcome. So I just want to go back to how I met you guys. I first discovered you at the Regent Theatre in Arlington, opening for Jelly Jam, and then talked to you afterwards.
That's right.
That was a killer show.
Oh, thank you so much.
And, you know, what struck me is not only the music was obviously well written and it sounded great, but the visuals you guys have is really striking. Can you just touch a little bit on, what you expect to see when you see a Lights Out show?
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, right. So if the listeners can sort of envision what happened was a few years back, we went to Burning Man and realized that the visual edge was a little bit further out there than we thought, and we kind of wanted to get a little bit of that into our lives as well, right? So people can expect to see it's effectively a wearable LED show. We each have a different sort of shaped goggles on our eyes, and the drummer developed this brain that controls the LED lights that rim the drum shells and all of our instruments, and then we, the Lights Out, actually turn the lights out as we play, and you get this sort of like glowing in sync LED light show that happens while we play. So we're you're getting a whole visual and sonic experience at the same time.
Excellent. Yeah. But that wasn't something that the name "The Lights Out" wasn't actually in reference to you turning the lights out. That came later. How did you guys start, and how did you get your name?
Well, so that's right. I mean, that's one of those ways that we feel like we might be on some kind of right track, whatever that is for us. That you're right. The light show is far in trail of the actual name, The Lights Out. Well, I think what happened was our bass player walked in, and the drummer we had at the time, and he said something about, oh, yeah, lights on, the lights out, as he walked through the door, because he saw a poster of somebody who had, I think they had a song out called Leave the Lights On, or something on that order, right? And,
sure.
He was being a little snarky in his own head. And he walked through the door just as he was saying lights on. Oh, yeah, the lights out. And as he walked through the door, he said, the lights out. And the drummer at the time immediately perked up and was like, yes, that. And so that is how we became named the Lights Out. And that guy is not the drummer anymore. Now we've moved on to the guy who has been the drummer ever since, Jesse, and who is also coincidentally the guy who invented the light show that we wear when we play.
Right. Yeah.
So an interesting
really
other
cool.
little bit of irony and full circleness, or synchronicity, not irony, synchronicity.
Synchronicity.
Yeah.
Sweet. So, if you wouldn't mind giving a bit of history on yourself, how did you initially get into music in the first place?
Oh, well, I mean, I've been playing since I was 9, so longer than I probably care to recount in public, but a good while now. It just was a thing that stuck. I was always in bands in high school, and then I wound up going to study classical guitar at Connecticut College, and quickly realized, like, I don't really want to do that. I kind of just want to rock. I wound up transferring to Berklee College of Music, and I've been in Boston ever since. Really enjoyed what happened there, but also I'm not really a jazz guy, more of a rock guy. Right. But all of that training, I just kind of found my way through various bands in the Boston area, and eventually found my way into a band called Ms. Pigeon back in the late 90s that my brother-in-law invited me into. He's a drummer and an exceptional musician in his own right, guy by the name of Jason Meeker, right? Okay. But so that band was kind of my beginning introduction into the actual Boston music scene proper, the inner side of things. And then, from there, ultimately realized that I had songs to write. And in that band, the guy that was in the middle of that, a super genius, excellent rock star, like had his mind super on it, and quite a mentor, both of those guys to me, and that's when I sort of started getting the bug to write my own songs, and eventually it just worked out that band ran its course after some exciting times indeed, but I felt like I had some of my own things to say, and so I went out and made a record back in, I think, 2005 that I made with some other friends of mine, and then I used those songs and that production to attract the people into my life that are now currently in the Lights Out.
Excellent. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, indeed.
And going a little deeper, what does playing music mean to you personally? Like, what do you get out of it?
Yeah. Well, to me, music is a meditative thing, right? Something to become accomplished at. There's no top end to it. You can always get better at it. It is a way to forget oneself for a while. Like, no matter how bad I feel, I can sit down with a guitar and kind of just quiet myself a little bit. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that's, to be honest with you, that's been the truest gift of all, is it just once you get good at a thing, or good enough to where you can kind of learn to amuse yourself with it, that's what it gives me. And for some reason, writing words and melodies just kind of wanted to come out, I guess, and so I found my way there. It's an interesting thing to say. I think all of us in life kind of find our way to this or that, and in my case, one of those things happened to be music. It's a nice way of expressing myself, and
Sure.
I just remember, I'm sure you're the same way, and probably everybody listening is the same, that you couldn't get enough of records as a little kid, and you just
absolutely.
would burn through any old thing that was in your dad or mom's collection, and then you get into your own stuff, and maybe you got that older friend who turns you on to all the good stuff that you wouldn't have found otherwise,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think there's a whole slice of reality. You can live your entire life through music and art, or specifically through music, or even just through polka or rock or whatever,
Yeah.
But there's, however deep you want to delve, there's a lot there to discover, and so it's a good way to go through life and keep growing, I think.
Absolutely. So going back to the band, you've got a new album out. It's called X-Ray Vision. Really, really great sound to it. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And for the second album in a row, you've released it on a beer can. So
right.
I think it's a brilliant marketing strategy. But how did that come about?
Right. Well, I mean, I'm going to give all the props to our guy. He's our Nels Cline-like figure, although we might as well say Nels Cline could be Jeff Tweedy's Adam Ritchie. So Adam Ritchie is the guy that has that idea in our band, and he's the person that did the heavy lifting to make it work. He saw it first. It's not so much. I think his main conceit or his main insight, I should say, was that nobody's, other than maybe you and a few other audiophile music fans, will go and spend money on vinyl, but nobody does that really en masse the way that we all used to do it, right?
Sure.
But they do go to the beer store and look at the labels on the beer cans, and there's all kinds of crazy artwork if you go into your Packy, your local liquor store, and so there's a lot to look at there. And he was like, well, there's no label system for bands to speak of anymore, really. So this is another way to just poke out and try and get people to say, oh yeah, okay. So, he had the insight that we would pair up with Aeronaut Brewery, who were the guys that really got it right away, that were doing what we were kind of doing. And so they made the beer in tandem with our record, that are sort of meant to go together. And then when you get onto the can of beer, which is X-Ray Night Vision by Aeronaut Breweries in Somerville, Massachusetts, excellent brew. But you'll find a Spotify code on there, and that'll take you right to the record. So they brewed the beer with the record in mind, but we write the music, they make the beer, and they kind of go together, and somehow it worked out,
Sure. Excellent.
It didn't somehow work out. Here's what I will say. Adam Ritchie always says nothing falls into place, and so it is. He made a lot of things happen, and we're always eternally grateful. But it made for a really great product all the way around. This is a thing that's in the world now that wouldn't have otherwise been there,
Right, absolutely. And it's, I did, I thought the original Trip beer was very good. I haven't, I'm no longer in New England, so I hopefully I'll get back there and be able to try the new beer. But
I'll tell you what, we'll see if we can't get a can out there for you. I'm pretty sure we can.
That would be awesome.
And we would love to have a beer review as well as a music review.
Yes, absolutely. That would be good. And then, did you do, so last time with the Trip album, you did a release party in the climbing center next to the brewery, and that was I wasn't able to come to that, but there was a whole massive show with you hanging upside down, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, the story just gets better every time somebody tells it, right? I was hanging upside down by one ankle, and I was playing a guitar solo. No. It was held in a climbing gym, and we got there, and we saw that one of the belaying ropes actually dropped down directly onto center stage, and we were like, you know what, I'm going up. So we had a guy at the gym who was trained in, belaying. I'm not even sure what it is. He had me wrapped around his waist and whatnot with the rope. Yep. So as I climbed up, he kept the slack taut, and then I sort of floated free. I let go and swung free, and then he lowered me down onto center stage to start the show, which I thought was just one of the high points of my life. When I look back on a life, that's one of those things about life well lived. Not even Paul Stanley, I would wager, has ever done that.
Right. That's cool. So any big plans to, you just had an Unplugged acoustic show last night. How did that go?
That was great. You know what I mean? I sort of say that contractually speaking, in multiverse prevailing contract law, we have to say that we're the lights out. We were actually the out lights, over from the world where we work in that acoustic place all the time. And we were on an exchange program with our compadres from this home world. And they were over there blowing people's minds with that crazy rock out thing that they hadn't seen before over there,
Excellent.
Just one dimension over.
Right. So, as far as, it seems Adam does marketing, and then Jesse does more of the technical stuff. How else do you divide the responsibilities of the band?
Right.
From a bit, not the music part, but the business side of it.
Right, the business end of it. Well, Matt does a bunch of the booking for us.
Yep.
And then I handle, like when we do licensing and whatnot, which we have been somewhat successful in here and there. We've gotten stuff into, we actually got some of our stuff cut up and put into the background of a couple Jersey Shore episodes, so that was good.
Cool.
Yeah, back in the day. That's an interesting game because, now you're sort of slicing things up into sausage and using it for underscores, and it's not really the individuality of the song so much as it is the sound that you're getting you can use underneath other entertainment venues, and that actually is a good way to bring a source of revenue to make the next record to the band.
Absolutely. So would you say that the band supports itself financially, or is it kind of there, or?
Oh.
Because I think sync licensing is really useful for that. But go ahead.
Well, to be honest with you, we do support ourselves financially. We.
That's great to hear.
Yeah, it is a matter of, we sort of just dump all the money back into the band. Any money that comes in, it's. You know what I mean? Let's not kid ourselves and say that it's bought us jet skis or anything like that. We have Andrew WK once said, "I'm not sure if you can make a living in music, but if you can make a life in music,
Right, absolutely.
So you can also make a living in it, but everybody in the band has other lives and other jobs, and so this is one of those things that we do as part of a life well lived. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So you're not
drawing... But it does bring an income that we then use and just roll back into the thing so that it's not coming out of the pocket. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think a lot of times that's a really good goal for a band. Just not to, to enjoy what you're doing and creating this thing, but to have it, just to have it support itself, so you're not constantly putting, money into the product. But that's really great.
Well, and just to spread the word. I mean, really, the ultimate goal is that we're just trying to spread the songs as far as they will naturally go in the world. You know what I mean? And who knows how long that is, because it could be that somebody discovers this thing in 10 years and poof, it's on a whatever. I think the thing that everybody has to remember to do is focus on making the work. And then, be realistic about doing things to put the work out there in unique ways, sort of in the way of like the beer or whatever, But at whatever level you're trying to make a thing go, you got to just keep on it all starts with the actual song. Like there's a light show, But the light show is, there's a concept of sort of multiverse and parallel realities that we can see into each of those realities when we turn on the crazy light up LED goggles, right? And every one of those realities is actually true somewhere if you are to believe some interpretations of quantum mechanics, and the Hugh Everett many worlds interpretation of the wave collapse effect. Just to get all oddball technical.
Right.
No, I'm not. That's not technical, dude. That's just as much like I know just a very little bit to be just dangerous enough to lose in a bar fight with a guy from MIT.
That's great. So yeah, I'm going on to that. So what is your opinion of streaming and how the music industry is today?
I think that it has made it more difficult to earn a living from music. Okay. So, for example, you can spend $15 on a CD, or you can spend $15 and everybody in your house can have Spotify Premium, all year long. So $15 a month, you can have every song, you know what I mean? And when you really think about what those numbers mean, that means there's a lot of things not being sold anymore. That revenue stream has been cut out. I think that the internet is slowly destroying every industry in that way, or disrupting, or whatever the word is you want to say. Because, newsprint can't sell classified ads anymore because Craigslist, that there's that phenomenon then extends to the music industry where, and the number that you get per each single stream is not a good number. So basically those numbers are awry, right? The people on top are going to continue to make a whole lot of money, and basically what it comes down to is they know they have us by the short and curlies, because people that create do it because they need to create. It's not really, it's not, and because they know that about you, they know that they can get you to deliver the goods for much less than what they ought to be worth. And they would argue that that's just free market enterprise at work. And I would say that, that's true, but only in the sense that you're kind of killing the golden goose, starving it. It would lay more eggs if you paid it a little bit more. If you fed it a little better, it would lay more eggs. I think that's where they fall down, but we haven't really arrived at that vision yet. And it won't happen until AI takes over. And it takes the human emotion out of it. Like, yeah, we'll just pay everybody. This is what we'll do,
So, I mean, just to play devil's advocate for a moment, and let's leave the amount that you earn per stream to the side.
Right.
Do you think that, if you're a relatively well-known local band, but let's just say you have your CD sales locally, but the person in, wherever, middle of Germany might not be able to find you, but now you're on Spotify, they might pop up on some kind of list, or, and now you've got possibly one person that could spread it around that local area. So do you think that maybe, although you have a lot of, let's face it, a lot of crap out there, when you do find a break through that noise, I think you have more of a chance of reaching people internationally that wouldn't have discovered you originally, because they just don't live in, in your case, it's the Boston area, or wherever you happen to play. I mean,
I think that's absolutely valid. Yeah, you're totally right, man. So there, giveth and it taketh away. There is a flattening of what where you can get to. It's the fact that you and I can broadcast around the world in theory, You know, so now it becomes, why should one person pay attention to you? And, you know, once that attention happens, you can get your message out super quickly. But the trick is to get the attention focused upon you. And I think that you're right, though. You know, like, we've actually seen that happen to us. Adam's been tracking, like, you know, there's this little sort of mini explosion of interest happens in Turkey. Or some group of kids are like, oh my God, you hear this? This is great. Let me, you know, you're right. That's exactly what happens. So that's the idea about, you just keep putting the stuff out there. And now more than ever, like, really the only thing you have working against you is the fact that there's so much other stuff that you're just buried in the shuffle. But the truth is, if the right yes gets to you, it can change everything, you know, sort of in the same way that, yeah, if you could pick the numbers in the lottery, you could win millions of dollars. But meanwhile, but at least the difference is here is that you've developed a skill, and you've worked on confidence, and what is that book, man? The Art of Happiness or whatever, you know, where the idea is that you are looking to find just tasks that are just a little beyond you, that you could just get if you work a little harder, and you sort of keep yourself going. Yeah, you just keep on pushing that needle. You don't make it too hard for yourself, so you just give up, and it's not too easy, so it's boring. It's right in that sweet spot. Right. And it keeps that carrot right 6 inches in front of your nose or whatever, you know. And me, you know, again, like getting back to the first thing we talked about, music is a great thing to do in that regard, because you can always deepen and discover more about yourself. And I think a lot of what songwriting is anyway is trying to sort of dig things out of yourself that other people will resonate to emotionally.
Absolutely.
You know, because it is about the emotion of it.
Oh, totally. I mean, I think that statement right there is, you know, truer than any other one, because I just think if you concentrate on the, you know, the music and the emotion of getting out what's inside of you, then, you know, in some ways the other stuff just doesn't matter that much. If you're being fulfilled emotionally and musically, then it's okay that you aren't gonna make, you know, millions on that, you know, on that track, but you're getting it out there, and it's done. At that point, it's done what it needs to do, and if other people end up liking it, then that's honestly a bonus.
Yes. Well, I think that, you know, the danger that it lies in the creative process that makes everybody feel vulnerable is like, what if everybody thinks, wow, you're a freak, I totally can't relate to that. But of course, you know, we sort of want that, and we also don't want that. We want to know that people get what we're thinking, and we're also afraid that we might be common. Again, you know, like if everybody can feel the same way, you know, can you express it in a way that makes everybody kind of feel like, yeah, I wish I'd said it like that, you know?
Right.
And that's the trick, is just trying to get it out there in a little bit more clever way. We're all on Etsy now, my friend. We're all busking. You know, that's basically what it comes down to. We're all busking.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. I like that.
Well, I mean, there's nobody out there sort of professionally. I mean, there's still going to be a music industry. There will always be a music industry, you know, pushing stars, and those stars will generally be child prodigy sort of level. You got a long way to go and a deep reservoir of talent, like a Lady Gaga or something. You know what I mean? She'll be around as long as she wants to be, because like she just got the goods. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But Iggy Azalea, we're probably never going to hear about her again. I'd be surprised.
Wow.
But Lord will be around as long as she wants to be, because she's got the goods to back it up, right?
Right. Cool.
So there is that, but you know, the other side of it is like, we have to remember that the actual impulse it's not wrong to succeed or to want to succeed and to make moves towards succeeding. It's also would do well to remember, like what the actual thing that you're trying to do is to make effective art.
Right.
That's your best bet anyway. That's your best bet at having something stick.
Right.
So it's one thing to write the next sugar, but maybe you should be working on trying to write the next Green Sleeves or the next This Land Is Your Land. And there's no way to really get around the fact of luck in that. Like This Land Is Your Land by Woody Guthrie, right? Wound up in like an educational primer that every kid learns. So it just somehow that one made it in there, and that's the song that we all know now because of that. And also because it's an amazing song, right?
Absolutely.
We all forget that because it is actually so good that it turned into a cliche that we don't even think about it anymore because it's so good that like I remember, I always feel like, what I like about you, you really know how to dance, something like that. That song is almost a victim of being too perfect. It's so good. We forget, and it just kind of becomes wallpaper, but that's only because it was so good that everybody knows it before they even know it, right?
Absolutely,
and,
yeah.
And
you can
that's
only hope,
kind of...
You can only hope to be a cliche.
Yeah, thank you. That's right.
It's like Xerox, when Xerox was a verb.
Yes.
I'm going to Xerox. Like it's the same thing of branding. Your product becomes the thing that it is.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you laid it down the first. Generally that first thing is the first pressing of the olive is the sweetest and most nutritious.
Nice.
How about that? Huh?
That's great. So now you've released the new album. What are your plans going forward?
Right. Okay. Well, X-Ray Night Vision is actually the beer and the 7-song record, but we cut 10 songs, and so the next thing at Thunder Road in Somerville on January 4 with Carissa Johnson and with Parks and also Megan Tracy and the Misconnections. So an excellent bill in the Boston area with some bands that are also touring in regional and national fashion. So that's going to be an excellent one. And we will be releasing the full version of the record, which is 10 songs. And the record itself is called Night Vision, although the beer record is called X-Ray Night Vision.
Ah, yeah. See, I felt a little cheated that it was only 7 songs, but that's now I'm happy about that.
Yeah, there we go. Well, it still clocks in at under 45 minutes,
Yeah,
and that's another thing that the lights out. Yeah, I got nothing against the longer I go, the more I'm like, just let people enjoy things. If you want to write 10-minute opuses of complicated guitar-many metal, then do it, But for what we're about, we're very interested in, frankly, I love the economy of Motown. 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, early Beatles. Like, you can just get right to it. You can just get to it. Tom Petty, the economy, the easy digestibility of things. And then the depth of meaning sort of gestured at in or old country, like Willie Nelson or, Merle Haggard or even Randy Travis, like there's this really good country writing, Miranda Lambert, there's this like quick turn of phrase and saying a whole lot in a very few words. That really speaks to me personally, And I feel like the Lights Out tries to get to that. Like, let's just do it fast. We don't need 8 minutes to get to it. Like, we'll just do it in 3 or 4,
Yeah, just packs a punch.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, concentrated. I think that's the idea. I like things to be concentrated. I wanna just be picked up at the beginning of the song and moved along, and then dropped off at the end, and never feel at any point that I was kind of like having to row a little bit to keep myself into it. But no, it just carried me all the way down the rapids, and then whoop, Out the Other Side. You know what? I want to go and listen to that again. I'm getting on the ride again, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, awesome. What I usually like to do is play a song to end the podcast. So what song would you like me to play off the new record?
Off the new record, I think that probably the closest thing we did to a pop bullseye that we maybe ever done is the song I Feel God. So how about that one?
Sounds good. I will play that.
All right.
And then, so how can people find out more about you?
Yes, indeed. Right. Well, it's easy enough. Go to www.thelightsout.com for all things The Lights Out.
And you can see all your or hear all your previous albums on there. It's got a nice web player. Definitely recommend everyone dig into the catalog because it's awesome. I absolutely love Trip. That's one of my favorite albums.
Thank you so much for saying that. I'm always listening
to it. So no, you're very welcome. It's to me it's it's a perfect blend of songwriting and it's mixed really, really well sonically. It's great.
Benny Grotto at Mad Oak Studios. I have to shout out to that guy.
Cool. So did you use the same studio this time?
This is the fourth record I believe we've done with Benny. Yeah, I mean he's excellent. He's a superior musician, and he brings that to bear on his mixing and production abilities. You know what I mean? And each time we get together with him, it's been better than the last. So thus far, we're like, yeah, it's great, man. Let's just go.
Yeah, the new album. It sounds great. It sounds as good as the previous, and I'm still digging into it. I've listened to Trip so much that it's like burnt in my psyche, and now new one's just kind of, I've got to like ingest it more.
Right,
but it sounds great.
Well, thank you, man. Simon, I really appreciate knowing that people are being reached. That is the idea. So if you're enjoying it, that is the best news that I could possibly hear. That's great to know.
Oh, I absolutely am.
Awesome.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, and hopefully I'll get back to Boston and see you guys live again.
When you do, you shall be welcome. The sooner and the oftener, the better I'll like it.
Absolutely. Well, great. Well,
all right. Thank you
so
again much for having me, man.
Have a good evening. You're very welcome.
All right. Cheers, everybody.
Have a good one.
Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to this episode. I hope you got a lot out of it. I know I did. Don't forget to visit the website to see the show notes of this episode, musiconyourownterms.com, and also sign up for the mailing list. That would be really helpful. Visit me on facebook.com/musiconyourownterms. And here's just a little unrelated soapbox segment. I'd really love to see musicians and bands build more of a community in helping each other get gigs and really build a network in their local communities and from city to city. I feel like that some bands see other bands in their local circuit to be more of a competition, but I think that's the wrong way of looking at it. I feel like local scenes, wherever you are, would benefit greatly from bands and artists working together to build stronger bills and networking opportunities. Because let's face it, the show is about the audience, not the bands. And if the audience sees a great show with multiple bands, then they're going to come back for more. And I think with bands helping each other out, getting gigs further afield, and providing contact details of promoters and venues, then the scene itself will continue to grow, and it will grow exponentially. If people are fighting with each other and competing, then it's only going to hurt the scene as a whole. Because I think working together is really the only way of strengthening the music scene. And the saying is, a rising tide lifts all ships. So if you're becoming successful and you can bring some younger bands or some newer bands along with you, then that's only going to benefit everyone. So think about reaching out to other bands in your area, build some Spotify playlists and share them with each other's fan base. Go further afield, find some bands in other cities you'd like to visit and see if you can do gig sharing. I feel like one of the main challenges right now is that there's so much music out there, it's really difficult to get yourself noticed. And so you constantly have to keep looking at ways to improve your reach. But anyway, as always, be excellent to each other, serve others, keep pushing the needle. I hope you enjoy I Feel Gone by The Lights Out.
In the winter of our discontent, there are no innocents, and we're not so different. No, we're two of a kind, one and the same. We pretend like we are friends in front of all our friends, and then go back home and then turn it off again. 'Cause whatever I say, whatever I do, I did those things I did to you. Now whatever I say, whatever I do, I never get